You want to test it one more? Let's test it one more time. Test.
I don't really want to use this as a test though, because I already made the title, like the third episode.
But it looks. I think it's gonna. You did test it, and it looked good.
I did, and I didn't change anything.
Do you want to? Are you comfortable, or
let's just make another hour-long episode with no audio?
3.
Hello,
2,
everyone.
Wait. 3, 2, 1, go.
This is
Nobody's podcast. Wait, we're nobody. Yeah, let's start it again. Let's do
pretend you didn't see any of that. This is
wait. No,
wait.
Let's use that as a test.
No, man. We're going good.
All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, we are a nobody
from nowhere
talking about nothing. Damn right.
If you didn't know, it's 1:40 a.m. and we've already been in some drinks. That's why we're drinking water.
Cheers. Brotherhood. We are.
It's been a long night.
It's been a long night.
As you can tell from the first episode 3, we didn't have our audio figured out on the new laptop.
Yeah.
But it's all figured out now, I hope.
Yeah, we're good. I think it's going to work because we did the test and all that stuff.
It's good.
It's going to work.
Yeah, it's definitely good.
So, and then so as always, the basic thing that we're going to be doing is kind of giving our perspective, talking about current events. We're going to be talking about some of what's happened in our past, some future stuff.
We talked about some current events in the last episode. Not that you could tell, you thousands of millions of people out there.
Basically the entire country of China.
If the U.S. was China, then yeah, that's true.
The U.S. was China.
What I would just want to jump in, head and feet and hands first, is love. I want to talk about love and the possibility of love. I myself have been married for 4 years. This July.
You should know that.
Or is it June?
It was July.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
This July will be 4 years. It's been great.
What is love? You were saying it's going to be 4 years and
just 4 years.
Okay.
But what I want to jump into is, I've got my story of love, which is not fascinating at all. But I want Mark to get into his story of love.
What is my story of love?
I don't know. You got to tell me, man.
Okay.
This is not what we're going to get into. We're not going to get into any vivid details.
Okay.
I have a friend I'm not going to name, and this person told me that it's very difficult these days to find a connection, establish it, and then also maintain it at the beginning. And I, for one, I met Sarah, oh man, what was it like? Oh, this March will be 12 years ago is when we first started dating. Mm-hmm. It took me like 7 years to ask her to marry me.
That's normal.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not ashamed. It worked out for us.
Yeah.
It's been a long, fun ride, and it's going to continue to be a long, fun ride. But I can't imagine what it'd be like to try and do all that today. And I don't want to. Yeah, that's why I'm married, because I'm done with all that.
All right.
But
I can dig it.
My friend, who shall stay unnamed, made it very clear, and I can understand that it's hard to do it these days, man. You got all these different complications, and I feel like people these days might not be as genuine as they should be.
I think it's a different world. I would say that. So he's the married guy. I'm the single guy. And then the other guy, Zach, who you've all seen by now.
Yeah.
Who hadn't seen this guy? He's engaged. So
he's getting married.
He's already been married once before, so he's like double experienced.
Yeah. Technically, he's both of us.
Yeah, really.
He's still technically single at the moment.
When we had CB handles, his handle was Panda. Panda.
or Panda.
Panda.
I don't know why I thought you said Pamda.
I don't know why you thought that.
I don't know.
It was-
Maybe I've been watching too much of The Office.
It was Panda.
Okay. CB handled Panda. And
Yeah.
what is that supposed to mean to me or to them? Because I don't get it.
So anyway, in today's
Is it black and
environment,
white?
no, it just didn't.
Is there a big gray area there? I don't know.
No, really. I don't really know why. He drove a big black Ford Focus, and I guess he's white, so maybe that.
That's why.
I don't
Did he
know.
have a
I don't
sign on
actually
the Ford
remember why we
Focus?
called him Panda, but that was his name. Mine was going to be Whiskey, but people called me Spaceman, so that was my handle, Spaceman.
I never had a CB call name. I'm sure my friends would have made it as vulgar and I don't know. It's something I wouldn't have wanted. I would
Okay.
say. But anyways,
John was
saying,
Cowboy. I remember that.
fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that Brotherhood.
Hey.
Anyway, so we're talking about dating in the world today, and then how it was kind of like when we were growing up, right? So
Ooh, growing up, man. I mean,
the biggest difference is smartphones and social media, right?
I would say so, yeah.
So for those of you that are listening to this 26 years from now,
What'll it be like?
well, back before the war broke out,
Which
we used to have to go to somebody's house to call on her.
Mhm.
No, I'd say
you know, I don't know if anyone if you've seen it, and I'm sure some people out there have seen it. The show Black Mirror.
I haven't seen it.
It's a Netflix original.
I don't have that.
There's one episode, the whole series deals with the advancement in technology and how it's going to impact our future lives. And one of them is I guess it's a computer software that downloads your whole personality into it and runs simulations
Oh wow.
on you with another person. Except for it's like these are actually living yous, like really complete virtual,
Like Resident Evil kind of thing.
Yeah. They're downloaded and they interact with this other person and they do it like over 1,000 times or something like that.
This sounds crazy.
And at the end of every simulation, if you guys make it, then that's when it rates you that, yeah, you guys are compatible because in those simulations, you both chose to be with each other.
Okay.
And it does all that in a computer that's like the size of your hand the instant that you're in the same room together. So
Right.
It'll be like, boom, we just ran a simulation that lasted like 5 years worth of y'all's lifespan. Y'all both chose each other over 98% of the time. And you're just now knowing that and you haven't even met each other yet. That's kind of the gist of that one episode.
Okay.
You know, you got Twitter and Grindr for some people. And I'm guessing that this is going to be the future. It's going to be exactly what's in the future. I have, without a doubt, that's how it's going to be.
Well, there's definitely the push for the internet or app dating or whatever, that kind of the app thing. And, I think it's probably started off kind of taboo or cliche to a certain extent. And it seems to be more and more the wave of the future. At least that's what I've noticed.
I think the first things that hit the internet were chat rooms. And that's how my mom married my stepdad, right?
No, I didn't know that.
That's how they met. They met in a chat room, which was basically a chat room that like multiple people would join and they'd all chat with each other in the same chat box.
Mhm.
It was like a mass text.
Like an
you'd see these
AOL
days.
type
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That was the very first thing that she got into, and that's how she met John.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Isn't it? They've been
Huh.
married for like 20, 30 years.
You know what? I've had a couple friends that have gotten married from people they've met on one of those apps, like Plenty of Fish or Tinder or something. I mean, it's just a thing now.
I think that's how Tinder was supposed to start out with. And then,
Was it?
People kind of start shaping the software technology how they use it instead of how it was meant to be used. you
Yeah.
know? So I've always heard that Tinder's like, hey, you want to bang? Yeah, let's bang. I'm a guy. I'm going to come up with some kind of like smooth little first one-liner, and then you're
Yeah.
going to basically bang me whether or not that's good or not.
So,
It's how I've always seen it. Just like I would fucking die in that world. I would never get banged.
You probably would.
I probably wouldn't, man.
You'd be banging
I'm not that
chicks.
clever with the first line.
You would be banging chicks left and right.
No, I think Sarah fell in love with me because I was stupid. Was not.
You think so?
And still sometimes.
We'd have to ask her.
She'll tell me that's true.
Yeah, but she
I won't
she
know
might
if
not
she's
necessarily
telling the
be
truth
sincere when she says that. She would just be like,
You can't ask her.
haha, of course
the
you're a
question.
dumbass. She's gonna call everyone.
You wouldn't
a
even know if
dumbass.
she was telling you the truth or not.
She'd call me a dumbass. She's probably calling me a dumbass right now.
She's not one for kind words,
No.
but that's okay.
But anyway,
It's not really.
it's not really okay.
It is okay.
It is okay. Not really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's fun. Trust me. But
Anyways,
going back to like again, me being the married guy, I couldn't deal with that kind of stuff. I wouldn't want to be honest with you. And maybe it's just because now that I'm married, I don't think I'd ever want to go back into the dating world.
mhm.
You know, for whatever reason, me and Sarah weren't together in like a year or 5 years or 10 years. I just wouldn't care after
Yeah.
that. Not like
Well, I mean,
done
you
forever.
would
I'm
you
just
would
like,
end
I don't-
up
I'm not really worried
you-
about
you
that
would-
anymore.
something would happen probably.
Maybe.
Depends
I
on
couldn't
what happens.
Write it off, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't really be seeking it out either.
No.
But what about you, man? Like, what means have you used or found successful or unsuccessful? Like, how does that work?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think as far as like how I've found girls, yeah, I've been on the apps a couple times, but not really, not much. That's not really my thing. It's really impersonal. But that's how I would describe that. It's I mean, there's only so much you can learn from somebody or convey about yourself in 100 characters or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I'd say more times other than that, there've been some girls that I've been introduced to by friends, girls from back in the day that you just kind of maintain contact with. I'd say for me, it's kind of rare to run across a new girl, just because in where I'm at, probably socially and professionally, it's just small field. Like, I mean, I work mainly with middle to older age people.
Yeah.
And
I could get that.
And it's not like the the bar industry or service industry or something like where there's a lot of youth that's in there. Not so much for us.
And I like the point you made earlier where it seems like you don't get it's more fast interaction. It's very hit or miss especially when you're using that date stuff, because I've kind of skimmed through articles that mentioned like why people that are using those means of possibly dating may find it unsuccessful more than anything else, because it's not that the program or software is designed to just be quicker, help you find fast connections, but at the same time, like, if I found this girl interesting, but then, we hit one little speed bump, the app's always there for me to just swipe left or right for thousands of other people that are in my area.
Well, the other side of that I'd say, referencing a conversation we had off camera earlier, is there are a lot of things that could signal you might be compatible with somebody kind of on paper, and like, I guess in the sense of an app, like literally on a screen or on paper. I like long walks on the beach. I'm adventurous, whatever. And, but there are a lot of other things that you get to know about somebody after you've spent time with them, because there are aspects of your personality that you kind of peel off layer by layer over time. And you just can't necessarily accomplish that no matter how fast or convenient the way it is. So, even if there is a dating app, or even if you're set up and you go out with a girl or something like that, and you have a great dinner, and it's like, oh, she's well read and she's pretty and she's active and smart. That really is just only part of the equation. Like, how the fuck does she clean up her apartment, or does she like how you have your apartment?
Yeah.
What
There's tons of things there, man.
all those little things, yeah. And so you don't really get to know that until you've actually developed that kind of that time with somebody. So
Mhm. I mean, me and Sarah were together for 3 or 4 years before we moved in together, and then that was like a whole nother ball game when that happened.
Mhm.
This whole nother level of factors and variables that came together that made the relationship new and exciting, and also kind of, it was difficult at times because you had to learn a new part of that person you've never experienced before. That's a good point.
Well, I've only lived, I guess you could say two, probably girls, mainly one, but two, that counts. And spent enough time over here that counts. And yeah, I mean, it really is that little. I'd say it really is that little stuff that you can't quite quantify very easily. Like, how the fuck, how does somebody sleep, and what your nighttime rituals are.
Do they
all
make
those
the
little
bed when
things.
they get out of the bed in the morning, or
Yeah,
not, or whatever? Do they
Yeah.
divide their clothes up, or do they just wash it all in one big giant pile?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All that little stuff. And so, yeah, the best app in the world and can tell you that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really is. And I'd say on one hand, the kind of the increased dependence on technology has made it somewhat easier to connect with more people, but it's probably made it a little more difficult to get to know people.
Yeah.
In the sense that you don't, there's a lot of superficial connection quickly, but you very rarely get into like a meaningful type relationship or getting to know somebody very well resulting from that. At least that's my kind of knowledge. It may be different because, again, this is a smaller town in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's true.
185,000 people
Only.
I mean, in the metro area, 500,000, I guess. But
Is that in Little Rock, or is that in like Little
That's
Rock,
like
North Little Rock, Sherwood?
Little Rock, North Little Rock,
Palmetto.
Sherwood, Benton, Bryant.
So all the towns. That's
Yeah.
all inclusive then.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's 1 million in the metro area, but they're also counting Conway when they say that.
I don't think that's fucking true.
Conway's not
A
really
million
metro
people.
area.
There's not that many people in this.
There's
area.
4 or 6 million in the state, something like that. Yeah, we got a lot of people.
We've got Fort Smith.
Well, think about it. There's
Pine
like
Bluff, Jonesboro.
There's like that many people in Miami alone. So
Yeah, Miami's huge though.
Miami Metro.
Miami's really big.
Miami's a wonderful place.
It's overrated. It's
Yeah,
expensive and overrated.
I don't think so. But
Like,
I've had different experiences.
You
than
have.
you have.
you have.
Well,
Mikey got
maybe
roofed
we've
there.
had similar experience, and that's why I
maybe
fucking Mike.
He
He doesn't want to go to Zimbabwe. Do you think he really doesn't want to go to Zimbabwe? I think Hannah said no because I was asking. Something happened.
I think a lot of people might say no, just because it's Africa.
Okay.
I mean, ask the next person you see that you think is, clever or smart, and ask them where geographically Zimbabwe is located in Africa. And I'm wondering if they could tell you.
I mean, that'd be tough. I can see that.
Because when you first asked me, I'm like, God, there's like people dying there left and right. Why the hell would I want to go?
Well, do you know?
But I didn't really realize where exactly it was either. It's not Central Africa. It's not even Northern Africa. It's like Southern.
South Africa.
Yeah.
It's just north of South Africa. It's on the southern side of the Zambezi River.
Yeah.
North of that, Zambezi is Zambia. But yeah.
And see, that made a lot of difference to me, especially after you showed me the waterfall, of course. That was
Victoria Falls, man.
Yeah. I mean, how many days would we spend there?
I mean, I think.
Would we do anything else?
Well, I mean, I think that you'd explore the area, right?
I mean, how long of a flight would that be?
Oh, well, I mean,
Because you'd probably have to fly over to Europe somewhere, say I don't know.
I don't know if we would have to fly to Europe. We might be able. We could probably fly
Down to South
North
America?
Africa. Yeah,
And then fly over?
Yeah.
I think that's
probably
longer
three.
flight.
Probably 3 stops, maybe.
No, I feel like it'd be longer.
Well, I mean, you'd probably go Little Rock to like Atlanta, and then Atlanta to.
You want to put a wager on it?
Yeah.
Small little wager.
Okay, what's the little wager?
I wager that if it's 4 or more flights, is that fair? Will you take?
I'm
3 or
gonna
less?
take. I'm gonna take 3 stops. We can do it in 3 stops.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do 4 or more.
Okay.
And that person buys the next podcast worth of drinks or dinner or whatever.
I'll take that. I'm gonna write it down.
Do it.
Sim 3 overlap. Okay. But anyway,
So, we talk about a lot of happenings in the world, locally,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm going to switch gears and throw out that I don't give a fuck that the Super Bowl's tomorrow. I don't.
okay. So we're switching gears here.
Yeah, I'm switching gears. I don't care about Super Bowl. And I don't know why. I haven't cared about the Super Bowl since Brett Favre played for the Packers.
Okay.
And I don't really know if that's why. Because I watched him play in a championship game. And it was fun. And I don't think I could ever watch a football game like that again.
That's right. You watched the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I did.
That's crazy. In
At
Lambeau Field.
It was a good experience.
Wow. That's amazing.
Oh, we got super lucky. I still don't know how my dad pulled that off, but that was fun. And I was young. I was like 15 or 16, maybe 17.
Yeah.
It was fucking cold. But I don't know, man. Something about football these days, about any sport, I don't really like watching them anymore. Is that weird?
I mean, I'd say it's uncommon. Most people like to watch sports, but I don't really. I don't know. It just depends on the mood I'm in. Like I do enjoy the Super Bowl, but mainly because it's just a tradition. But yeah, I kind of find myself like I've watched more baseball, Major League Baseball this last season, but that's just mainly because they're just kind of something to turn on more than anything else.
Yeah.
Like I would. Yeah, I mean,
it was just on.
Yeah, I mean,
or would you ever seek out the games? Because I know there's a couple of games you wanted to go watch, and especially when it comes like Razorbacks and stuff like that.
Well, I've watched some of those. I haven't been as worried about the Razorbacks football team or anything lately, I guess. I mean, I kind of pay attention to them because it's their home state, Arkansas Razorbacks. Not as much as they used to. I don't know why. I don't, it's kind of interesting. I play ball. Both play ball. But I would say that I enjoy baseball, but it's not quite the same that it used to be.
Yeah.
I
think that's because, I don't know, you've got other things going on, or maybe it's because we've gotten older. Maybe a mixture of the two, or
could be some injuries in my shoulder, so it's not the same anymore. I was actually doing I was doing some throwing, not last year, before last season, and I had an injury in my scap, and actually, my velocity was down pretty far from what I was used to be capable of. And I remember doing videotape analysis at this place. A friend of mine owns a performance center around here. And you could see as I was coming forward, like how fast my arm was moving, and it would actually physically slow down on the way forward. Because your arm only you can only move as fast as your body's healthy enough to do it. And because there was an injury back here, it's like artificially slowing my arm down. And so as I was putting in a lot of effort, but my body wasn't letting me do it anymore. And it's just kind of interesting. I've rehabbed it somewhat, but I don't know if it'll ever quite get back.
So no more triple-digit fastballs is what you're saying.
No more triple-digit fastballs. Haven't been able to do that. I've unleashed. The last season, I had a couple moments where I had that again, but for the most part, it's kind of gone. I don't know if it'll come back. Maybe it won't.
Man, I never really got into the whole pitching thing. I was always, just more of a field guy.
Yeah.
I always thought pitchers were just kind of like, the game's all about me. I'm just gonna throw some pitches, maybe peg a couple of guys, maybe strike a couple of guys out.
Yeah.
Maybe get rocked a little bit, and then I'm gonna stomp off the field when I get sent to the dugout. Is that how it goes? I mean, am I off the mark there?
I don't know. I mean, for me, it was always you're in it to win it. Like every pitch, you're really involved in the game the whole time. But it's always interesting. I wasn't as competitive with the hitters as most pitchers are. I'd say most pitchers really want to just get everybody out and all that stuff. I was really more focused on what I was doing, like having the best mechanics or throwing as hard as I could or whatever it was. And I didn't so much care what happened to that particular hitter. I mean, that's probably not the right approach, but that's the approach that I inadvertently took.
I could see it working in some cases, maybe not so much, but
well, at High School, I threw all the time, and we didn't have a very good team. So it was like, it didn't matter if your arm was feeling bad or not. You just fucking played.
You just had to. Huh?
And so I got really good at getting people out with whatever stuff I had that day. And if my arm was hurting and I was throwing slow or whatever, you just kind of figure it out. And I got a lot of people out that way. I was fairly successful. But I never, ultimately in the long run, it hurt. I got a lot of injuries because of it. But, from that aspect, I guess, I was always wanting to be the best I could be. But it was just, it had kind of devolved into the point of just figure out whatever kind of junk way you can to get somebody out. By the time I got to college, I was like, man, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm here to, be the best that I can be. So it was a change. It was a different mindset to get into for sure. Yeah. And when I started playing and managing, and then mainly managing, like a lot of the reason, my philosophy was always to put the best person in the best place and to throw the best guy. And if I was the best pitcher on our team to throw, then I threw. But if I wasn't the best pitcher on the team at any given point, then we threw the best guy for it. And there are a lot of stretches where I wouldn't throw for a while, and then it would be the right time for me to throw, and I'd throw and I'd get hot and I would throw for a while. And anyway, I always kind of carried that over, and it was more to do with knowing what my limitations were and wanting to put people in the best position to win. So yeah. So we talk about sports. I think we're kind of both hitting on the same thing, where playing was the game. It was it was what you lived to do, was actually playing the sport and figuring out how to get through it and competing with yourself and the camaraderie with people. And, watching sports is nice because you get the feel from it. But I think when you stop playing, you kind of lose some of that,
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I was never fully interested in watching it. It was always something more like, if I didn't have anything invested in it personally, it couldn't hold my interest. If it was a tournament that we played in, then yeah, I'd be interested in watching other teams play because we have a chance of playing them, or they might have beaten us and I want to see them either succeed or fail. or anything like that. But if it's on TV, I might watch it just because it's there, it's something to hold my attention or distract me. But I'm not. It's well, I think for me, once I play it, there's really no lesser calling than to continue playing or to just when you get to the point where you can't play it at all anymore, but you still love the sport, then I can understand enjoying watching it then.
Yeah. And I think it is a little bit, I think probably age has something to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
When I was, you being younger, watching the Razorbacks, it was like, that's what we did. You wanted to go see as many football games as you could. And then when I started to get to be the same age and, same age as the players in college, and then maybe, around that same age, something like that, I was interested. And that was probably kind of I'd say the falling action of the story for me, because once I started to get, noticeably older than the players that were playing in college, your generations kind of passed, and to me anyway, I kind of lost a little bit of interest in that side of it because the spectacle was gone, and now, the most successful guys in the NFL or the major leagues or whatever, they're either our age now and they've been established veterans, or maybe they're even a few years younger in some cases. And and it's just different, So Nolan Ryan right here, that's what this jersey is. But
another jersey, chap my nipple. Something fierce, man.
Well, sometimes Nolan Ryan does that to people.
Couple of nipple grazers. Was he known for maybe that or some sweet chin music? Some
sweet chin music. Sometimes you got to throw a fastball at somebody's head.
Right.
You don't win a marathon without putting some Band-Aids on your nipples.
That's true, man. Sweating and running with that's got to be brutal. I would have never thought that. So I would have come across that line if I would have made it at all with some severely chapped nipples.
Brotherhood. All right. So that's kind of the sports side of it. What else? What else is there? We had a whole long, fantastic discussion about Afghanistan and Syria.
Yeah.
I don't know I think the time's passed for that.
If you can lip read, then you'll get all of that out of the last episode.
If not, then we'll touch on that a little bit at another time.
I was a jackass, a complete idiot when it came to setting up the audio, and I totally dropped the ball on making sure some buttons were pressed.
If nobody can tell, we're both pretty goddamn tired at this point.
Very, very tired.
Because it's
like a couple of like an hour and a half of getting it all set up on the new computer.
Yeah,
drinking the whole time,
drinking a lot,
and then testing it for another 30 minutes, and then hitting record and going at it for
about an hour, yeah.
And then man, all right, well, let's get ready for the next one. And then I just happened to go back and look at that show and oh shit, man, none of this has audio. Laughing about it, and then trying to figure out how to fix it for another hour and a half, and then another hour of talking, another hour of eating, or going to get something to eat, and then coming back, and here we are again with it hopefully fixed.
Yeah, and I guess this is going to be is this going to be podcast 4 or the real 3? I mean, what the hell are you going to call it?
I call this one the real number 3.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
So just to summarize what we did last show,
we talked a lot. Well, I got the notes.
Yeah, so if I can remember, you can grade me on my memory. We talked about
terrorists,
definition of terrorism,
our perspective on where we were on 9/11.
Trying to compare the current Syrian situation to geographically, maybe United States, to try and help people understand just how fucking complicated that is. And then we went to gun rights and talking about perspectives from, an Arkansans outlook on that.
Right.
But pretty conservative. I mean conservative not as in a Republican view on it, but just we don't really go out and shout and yell and demand that our rights be preserved in the most Republican way, but we're conservatives, and we think people should have gun rights, but at the same time, not everyone needs an M1A2 Abrams main battle tank.
But not everyone doesn't.
I mean, it would be cool.
I would like an M1A2.
Yeah, it'd be really expensive to maintain that piece of equipment.
It would. I drive to work.
It gets like 3 gallons to the mile.
Yeah, but then again, it's a tank.
Yeah, it's like 40 tons of just like all kinds of awesomeness.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I think there's 70 tons, 68 tons maybe.
We're both gun owners, obviously, and we love them. And we don't care if everyone else loves them or not. Everyone has their opinion. That's fine.
So we did talk about that, and I guess really we'll get into that later. Like we'll have to save that one for the next podcast.
Yeah, why not?
Zach will have some stuff to say on that.
Yeah, he will.
I mean, he's got a big beard too, so
yeah, he loves the beards, man.
He does, man. He's an interesting cat. He is. Yeah, he's kind of one of those interesting guys. I mean, I remember he once thought. I don't remember if he said he thought or he was like had a mild form of Asperger's or autism or something.
Really?
But I mean, not in the sense that most people are probably thinking of. Like he's one of those people that whenever we're working on stuff, he could look at a schematic like one time and just
impressive.
know everything how it works. Like from a like electronics and the technical standpoint, yeah, he just knew all that stuff. It's crazy. Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Mm. He got into Dartmouth out of Hall. Got accepted to Dartmouth. Yeah, he decided not to go to Dartmouth though.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, that's the kind of caliber of people that are running the show. I myself never even went through middle school or high school.
I'm not even here right now.
I didn't even make it through 4th grade.
Back in my day, we didn't have to go through those grades. We just apprenticed down at the shoe shop.
Mm-hmm. No,
we learned how to press newspapers with the feet.
It's one thing to be, like go to like a trade school and go through and learn all that stuff and have to really devote some time. But when you've got the kind of talent where you can just kind of to do that, it's kind of like a gift, man.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and he uses it in his own way. Like he loves working on cars and stuff.
He does.
He can talk all day about working on some cars.
Well, I'd say the thing about Zach is, it's like there's some things that he's really good at, and then there's some things that takes him a minute. Probably with most people.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he'd say the same thing about me.
Well, do you have anything else you want to add for tonight?
Oh, as far as podcast content?
Yeah.
What else do I want to talk about? Well, we talked about today's love environment. Talked about some sports stuff. Talked about technical difficulties. Where are we at time-wise?
38 minutes.
38?
Yeah.
We got a little time. I'm tired too.
Yeah.
God damn. Yeah. It's late.
I think one last thing we can talk about is where do you see the world being in 10 years when you're 40?
41.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully not next to some sort of catastrophic climate change. That would be terrible.
I feel like it's coming.
Yeah, it almost seems inevitable at this point. It seems like nobody's giving a shit to do anything about it.
I mean, I get that, people disbelieve it or want to not believe it because
Sounds stupid.
I feel like there's no way you cannot believe it by using common sense. If you're using common sense, you know that there's a finite amount of resources, air, whatever, and then the more we keep fucking shit up, the more we're gonna have to pay for that down the road.
Yeah,
but
it's not fuck shit up.
It's understandable if you don't want to believe it because you think someone else has an agenda that they want to press on you.
Well, I mean, I think
that's the only reason why you don't want to deal with that problem. But that shit's coming.
I mean, I think it's kind of dumb to deny it, but
I mean, think about me and you are sitting in this room right now.
We're sitting in a room.
We're burning air. We're polluting the air, doing whatever.
Are we?
I'm just saying, for example.
Okay.
This is a really bad example.
We're tired.
So we're polluting the air. We're doing whatever. We're not even talking about, using up resources or anything else that comes with that whole situation. We're just polluting the air that me and you are breathing. How long do you think we'd survive on the finite amount of air we have in this room?
Oh, it wouldn't last long.
No, it wouldn't last long. So just put that on a grander scale. We're obviously polluting the air and also polluting the water and all that shit that
killing off the animals because of it,
all that
making
stuff,
shit hotter and all that stuff.
How long do you think that's going to last? I mean, I don't even think like another 100 years.
Oh no. I mean, I think if we don't do anything to reverse the man-made aspects of climate change, probably a couple decades, really. I mean, depending on, people would last longer than that, but
wouldn't be.
I think the latest study that I had heard, and I can't remember the source, but it's a pretty reputable source. I think it's NATO or something, or the UN, was 12 years. If we don't change significantly our footprint on the environment, after 12 years, it'll be that past that critical mass. There won't be anything anybody could do about it at that point.
Like the chain reaction would have already started, and even if we did it after 12 years, we're still fucked.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Like, I used to be terrified when I was a kid. There's what's the name of that movie with goddamn
Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah, sure. No, the other one actually, like Armageddon or
Deep Impact.
Movies, yeah,
with the asteroid
the
stuff.
World's going to end. And I remember watching, I was like, God, that's terrifying, isn't it? It's just coming, and we have to try and do something to stop it. But, that's all movies, and they can stop it. We can't.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, we got a lot of good people out there, a lot of really good people. Like, obviously,
a lot of smart people
that work for NATO that come up with those reports, or people you just don't hear about that do their little small part, go to work, try and affect as many lives as possible in a positive way, and then they go home.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a lot of shitty ass people, and the fact that we can't come together and see the problem and solve it. Maybe we don't deserve it. And it doesn't bother me if shit like that happens. Like, even if a cataclysmic event happened and it was solely to our doing, it sucked for the rest of the world.
Well,
it would suck for the people who have no control over it, the animals, all the life that we have the chance of progressing in the future. But in the end, we did it because we didn't deserve it, because we couldn't change our ways.
I'd say that's kind of, I could see that. And I'd also segue that a little bit into kind of the general mindset of what I've noticed maybe about Americans in general. God, it's going to sound like an anti-American rant. But
can you blame Americans for being Americans, though?
Well, no, but
because once our
to a certain extent. And so I just kind of noticed that, like, and I was talking about that this morning at coffee with that Turkish girl. It's like when, going through Europe and all that, most people know English to some extent. A lot of them are really good at it. Most people know what's going on in America, right? I'd say even some things that are fairly recent or whatever, especially all the Donald Trump stuff. But I'd say probably most Americans don't really pay attention to world news as much, other than the stuff that's directly affecting us that maybe the U.S. is involved in, like Syria or whatever. And I'd say, I mean, most Americans, unless you have some sort of, uh, foreign family members or something, they're not going to know any other languages really. It's different, and maybe it's different in some of the border areas in Texas for sure. Spanish is more common, and if you're from some of those areas around here, sure. And it's like we all grow up having to take a course or two, but you don't really utilize it as much, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I mean, I just say all that to say that at least kind of in my experience, there's this kind of focus on America and your area, in this case Arkansas, what's going on around you and how everything's affecting you at this moment, and less focus on the global impact, especially when it comes to your global impact on the world. And so that feeds into the kind of the climate change thing. I think anyway, for Americans, and probably it's probably accurate, would you say, for around here, people kind of think about what are they going to be doing on Saturday, and not that that's bad, but they're thinking about that as opposed to greenhouse gas emissions, and that stuff tends to kind of fall by the wayside, I think, in the grand scheme of things. And maybe that's not necessarily the case in some other areas. Maybe.
That's some good points. But at the same time, I'm not saying change is going to be painless.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, just trying to go through and figure out what you can recycle and what you can't recycle, and dealing with that whole thing
that's
thing of its own.
It's crazy now. Yeah.
But change is hard. But once you get used to doing things a different way, it's not that hard after a while. Quality of life could get better. Who knows if we never tried it?
I agree.
But also, in my opinion, we kind of grew up in this everything's disposable kind of culture, and once a whole industry, especially to a whole country, gets geared towards that way, it's kind of hard to pull back from it.
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
But that's just the challenges that we're going to have to overcome. Period.
And hopefully we will. I mean, we certainly could. That's possible.
Yeah.
It's just it's kind of interesting because when we're talking about 10 years from now, will we have made the efforts to replace carbon emissions and move more towards renewable energy sources and electric vehicles? I mean, it's going to be interesting to see that, whether we do or not.
There's information out there on technology where they kind of made, I don't know if it's devices or chemicals that will pull carbon out of the atmosphere and generate
scrubbers. Yeah,
generate resources from that.
I heard a little bit about that, but I don't know much.
It's in its early stages. It's probably why.
That'd be cool. Well, that could be a thing.
It's very, very, very I think it sounds almost like sci-fi when you talk about it. Like, let's just pull that stuff from the atmosphere and make whatever out of it, or generate electricity with it, or whatever. It sounds like something you'd hear off of Star Trek or something.
I remember watching an episode of Sequest. I don't know if you ever saw that show with Roy Scheider, but
with the dolphin.
That was with the dolphin. I like that show. I like Star Trek and Star Wars. I don't fucking care who knows. That's a tank. But anyway, I remember watching a show of Sequest, and of course it's set in the future and all that. And there was some terrorist group that was flying around. They were going to blow up the world's oxygen. It was CO2 scrubbers generated oxygen like trees do. But with the premise being, in the future we had there was so much deforestation that we didn't have as many plants, many trees generating oxygen and scrubbing the air of CO2, and these machines did it. And there were several around the planet, and this terrorist group was going and blowing them up, and Sequest guys had to stop them. But it's kind of similar to that type of technology you were talking about.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't know.
So how did they stop them? You don't leave me hanging.
Oh, I think they blew up a couple, and then they were on like the last one.
So,
and then Sequest guys, I think, launched a missile or something.
They just launched a missile.
Something. I don't remember.
It didn't have anything to do with like the Dolphin. Did the Dolphin ride the missile?
I don't remember if the Dolphin was involved because it was in the air.
I can see why this show's not on air anymore.
Yeah. Well, Roy Scheider left, so
Oh.
he left the show, and then Michael Ironside took over.
Ironside?
Yeah, Michael Ironside.
His name is Ironside.
Yeah, dude. You know who Michael Ironside is?
Do I?
Have you seen Starship Troopers?
Yeah. Which one?
You know the teacher, who
The drill instructor or the teacher?
the teacher who ends up being the leader of the Roughnecks.
Yeah, he
first
had
leader.
the missing arm, right?
That's Michael Ironside.
His name is Michael Ironside.
Mhm.
Is that his legit birth name?
That's his legit name.
Or is that like his Hollywood actor name?
I think that's his legit name.
God damn, he should have been in the military.
And his voice too. You're like, hey, you should have fought people.
Yeah.
Maybe he was.
I'm Lieutenant Ironside. Fall in.
But you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
All right, so we're at a good spot
Wait, well, I'm about
to the thousands and millions of viewers out there.
We're about to reveal what happens to Michael Ironside, dude.
Where? In Sequest?
There's the internet, man. It's gonna tell us exactly.
What, did he die? He's not dead.
Yeah, his name is Loder. He calls himself Michael, but he was born Frederick Reginald Ironside.
Oh God, that sounds pretty badass.
Yeah, he was in Top Gun too. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, what was his call sign? Do you remember? Trivia. Don't look. Don't look. It has something to do with cards, right?
Jester.
Jester. I was thinking Joker.
Woo-ha! Jester's dead. I do remember that. I used to know, this is true, and I'm tired, but I used to know every single line
Yeah, you told me that.
to Top Gun.
I remember
I watched it all the time.
when I was
a
young
kid.
and we just got surround sound. It was like a brand new thing. Stepdad John like the first movie we watched was fucking Top Gun with stereo surround sound.
Really?
It sounded pretty good.
Okay.
You could hear the missile go.
And then you heard Highway to the Danger Zone.
Yeah, that song is it's so good.
Where are we at in time right now?
We're done. Is where we're at.
What time is that?
It's an hour and 15 minutes.
Are we really an hour and 15 minutes?
Yeah. So to the
Okay.
thousands and hundreds and millions of
and
trillions of viewers out there.
Dozens of people. Obviously, we fucked up royally,
Yeah.
just massively earlier this evening.
And I know we're really exciting to listen to tonight because we sound so energetic.
Because we're so goddamn tired right now because it's 2:40 in the morning.
Oh, God, it is. I thought you were just kidding, but you're actually being honest.
And we're coming down off being fucking hammered drunk.
Yeah.
We're
This is the time when you
sober
would be
now.
asleep.
Everybody's sober, so.
Yeah.
But goddamn, we were hammered drunk earlier.
One of us was.
You were drunk.
No, it was you, dude.
I was drunk, but you were drunk.
I was not.
Yeah, you were.
No.
You were down.
I felt it. And it
You
felt
were
great.
down in rum. You were pounding rum.
No.
Yeah. How much rum is left?
So here's the deal.
Hold up
If
the bottle.
You watched and you're just crazy enough to stick around and you want to hear about something for us to talk about or answer a question or tell you a story, whatever it is, leave a comment or something
Yeah, put it in the comment section.
and we'll get to you. And if you watch, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.
And we'll keep doing more of these, and we'll do a bunch more pretty soon. We're kind of getting the hang of it. And
Kind of.
fucking
Episode 3 is going to be a classic. The first episode 3.
What we're gonna get, I think
we should do a voiceover like Science Movie Theater 3000.
Oh, see, I want to do a version of that. We should do a podcast where
You've always talked about that.
I've always that'd be great.
We got to pick a really good Top Gun. No,
it's got to be. They were all D movies. Zach will be here next week.
Okay,
but I guess the plan is we're going to try and knock out a few of these so we can have them kind of consistently to upload as soon as we stop fucking the shit out of this software. We actually know what we're doing. And then we'll obviously have a little bit more energy than we have at least this one, because it's not going to be 4 o'clock in the fucking morning after 16 beers and 38 shots of whiskey.
Yeah.
And
for one person.
Hash browns.
Hash browns are delicious.
Yeah.
So again, thanks for watching.
We're Nobody's
podcast from nowhere.
Talking about fucking nothing. All right. And scene.
Later.
Later.